Peace, everybody. Chauncey Jones, Executive Director of Take Up the Cause. I'm a wealth of steam builder and developing the beloved community. So the why in Take Up the Cause is deeply rooted in Scripture, right? Isaiah 1:17. It says to learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, take up the cause for the fatherless, and plead the case for the widow. That's saying let's serve the underserved. And when we talk about how we serve the underserved, we're talking about in housing, affordable housing when it comes to rentals, and home ownership. Home ownership, 90% of millionaires have wealth associated with owning property. When you look at the rates in Spokane, Washington, home ownership rates are at the lowest they have been since the Fair Housing Act in 1968. Depending on where you look, it's between 28 and 32% of home ownership. Now, if we compare that to non-Hispanic whites in Spokane, Washington, their home ownership rates are going to be anywhere between 64 and 68%. That is a significant gap. So we're trying to close that gap. Another barrier, we talk about our people in the community who are unhoused. Well, guess who's at the top of that list when we talk about the highest percent, right? Black people and our Native American brothers and sisters are at the top, the highest rate of homelessness in the Spokane community. So when we see those two things, Take Up the Cause is, again, gonna learn. Let's learn what's out there. Let's put together the resources and figure out through the education, advocacy, and resources on how to close those gaps, right? So that we're no longer at the top of the homelessness rates and we're no longer at the bottom when it comes to home ownership, because everyone deserves a safe, affordable place to call home. All of our programs, it starts with a mindset shift. We have to have a mindset shift. So many times we've been taught to believe that the scarcity mindset is the way to go. There's not enough resources out there for me. I don't deserve it. And we have generations of not just renters, but of people who have been below the poverty line. All right. So we have to shift the mindset. That's going to take discipline. You got to believe, right? And then you got to put in the work. I say it all the time. A vision without a plan is a hallucination. And so have that vision, but then also what is the plan to achieve that, right? And it starts with mindset, and it has to be a shift. Someone once said, John Hope Bryan says, if you hang around with 9 broke people, you're going to be the 10th. And when I'm talking about broke, it's not about what you have in your wallet. It's what you have in your mind. If you sit there and believe that I will never achieve this, you're right. Right? But once you start believing, if I put in the work, I can achieve this and I can do better for myself, and not just myself, generations after me. We all have somebody, even if you don't have direct lineage as far as kids, there's somebody that is relying on you to make it. It's relying on you to plant those seeds so that they can sit under a tree. But it starts with the mindset. That is the toughest thing. And not only is it a terrible thing to waste, right? It's a terrible thing to just let stay in a scarcity mindset. So changing that from scarcity to abundance, and then believing that I can achieve great things. Whatever your greatness is, you have to believe it here first and then plan it out. So no matter where you're at in your housing journey, there's always a next level, right? If you're currently unhoused, there are resources and education in our community that can get you to safe shelter. And then you go from there. Like I said, there's levels to it, right? I need a safe place so I can start building up things. How do I go and get my identification? How do I find my social security card? What resources are out there if I need subsidies? And then the next level to that is to be able to just become a responsible renter. If you don't have rental history, or maybe there is an eviction, whatever the case may be, how do we get it from being right in this shelter place to somewhere where it's affordable, but sustainable for you? And then while you're there, we don't want you to stay there. Oftentimes people say, that's good enough. And again, that goes back to that mindset shift. Once I have an apartment, I'm good here. But I want you to start knowing that there's another level. There's that greatness within you, but you have to have the mindset shift of, okay, how long before I want to be a homeowner? And then to take the steps, get the education. We have Black Homeownership Spokane that gives you those steps because we want it to be a blessing, right? We don't want you to walk into a home and shoot, a foreclosure is worse than eviction in a lot of places, right? And so we want you to understand when it's time to go and get your keys to your home. that it's a blessing for you. But again, it's steps to it. We want you to take the proper steps so that you're prepared. And if you already own one home, what's better than one, two, three, four? Find you some up. They're not making any more land. Get you some properties again, and buying those right, that can become income producing, because that's the next thing, is how do you utilize it to build wealth, right? And there's so many different ways. Again, 90% of millionaires own property. So if you want to take the next steps into the level, and it's not about you being a millionaire, it's about being able to have something that is an asset that you can leave for your children and your children's children and your children's children's children. So Black Homeownership Spokane, oh man, so excited to talk about it. 7 organizations came together like Voltron. You got Habitat for Humanity Spokane, Community Frameworks, Vision Properties, Jacqueline Sandoval, Carl Maxey Center, the MLK Center, and then Take Up the Cause. Coming together to understand that, hey, education is so key. It starts with educating you on these steps. Again, first, the mindset shift. Got to shift that mindset. And then after the mindset shift, it's the education. Knowing where I'm at. See, a lot of times they tell you, oh, you're interested in purchasing a home? Go get pre-approved. Nah, we don't do that. Let's get the education first. You need to know where you're at. What's your credit score? What does your budgeting looks like, right? And if knowing where your credit score is, you need at least a 620. In a lot of cases, at least a 620. But you don't want to be the least, right? We're talking about mindset shift. But that's where you can start at, right? What are your budget looking like? Do you have an emergency fund saved? What's your debts, right? What's your debt to income? Paying down the debts, understanding how it impacts you. I think you want to know all of those things before you walk in to a lender and put your fate in their hands, right? I want you to know all that information, and Black Homeownership Spokane teaches that. So when you get all that education, it's empowering, and that's changing that mindset. It goes from I don't deserve this, I can't do this, to I'm going to do this. And then when you see someone with those keys at the end and say, now I am a homeowner, oh man, there's nothing like that. And we have close to 40 now testimonials of people who've gone through the program and are now homeowners in just a 2-year span. And sometimes it has taken that whole 2 years. But in the end, getting those keys and now saying, I am a homeowner. I am now building wealth, right? Through the equity in my home. And now I'm on the road to being a part of those 90% of millionaires who own property. Look, I know that there are many ways to build wealth, and it starts with the mindset. You have many options that you can lean on when it comes to building wealth. But I want to help you build the wealth esteem. And Black Homeownership Spokane and Take Up the Cause is building the wealth esteem to know that I deserve this. It can happen for me. I want you to understand, too, it's a tough thing. It's a quote that says, financial freedom is an acquired taste. You have to go and acquire it. No one's going to just bring it to you. But when you get that freedom and you're starting to build wealth, there's no other feeling like it. And I want to warn you of something, too. You heard the 2 phrases before, money talks, and that talk is cheap. Wealth whispers. And so if you want to build wealth, it's going to be silent. It's going to be when no one's looking, but it's going to be something that is sustainable. And if you want more information, check out the website below, tap in with us. And no matter where you're at, it's the beginning of the journey. So it starts with just reaching out and saying, hey, my mindset has shifted. I'm ready to build wealth esteem. And let's go on this journey together. And that is how we reimagine generational wealth.